Morning everyone, welcome back to Sunday Morning Drives. It's really cool today that we get to show you the brand new Lotus Emira. Now this is one of the first cars that has come into New Zealand, and this is one of the showroom cars. So we're really fortunate to be able to get you exclusive access to this car, and they're starting to deliver these cars now to customers. So we're going to show you around the outside and the inside, and then we'll talk to you about some of the special features for this new Lotus. Alright everyone, so before we go to talking about the car that we have for you today, we're going to be talking about how customers actually go and spec their cars. So if we come in through here, you can see that there's a whole bunch of samples that the customers can choose from, which is really amazing actually, because this is the material that they actually get in their cars, and then the labels are at the back of these samples. So you can see this is the Alcantara interior material with the different types of stitching. And then in the second drawer, we get all the different types of leather in the interior that you can spec. And the car that we have today has the tan leather interior. So that's a really nice combination with the dark green. So that's really cool.
These are Napa leather, right? So they feel really fine and really smooth.
Yeah, exactly. The leather quality is really nice. And these are all the launch colors for the car that you can choose as well. So this one is Seneca Blue. That one is the really highly publicized launch color. And then today's car is in Dark Verdant, which is a really dark green color. Now this actually changes in different shades of light, as you might see in the video. And you can see that it's almost like a black color in the shade, but then when you hold it out into the sun, it turns into quite a nice sort of pearl metallic green.
Like the detail of these samples, eh?
Yeah.
The curve really shows the shine on the paint.
Exactly.
And also these are magnetic. Very nicely done.
Yeah, really nice samples. And what's amazing is that Chris told us about 30 people ordered their Emiras just from this. So they couldn't see the car, they couldn't really see anything, but obviously they trusted Lotus enough that they ordered their cars just from looking at the samples. So it's really nice that they did the samples, but yeah, lots of people actually ordered them just from that. Alright everyone, so we're going to start off by talking about the front of the car, and you'll see that it's a very unique design. You can tell that immediately this is a Lotus Emira, and what they're going for is a very similar vibe to the Evora, which is their 2000 horsepower electric hypercar. With the Evora, the vents and the grills and everything, it's even bigger, but they've actually taken that design language and that functionality across to the Emira. So you can see there's a big central vent down here. There's a little bit of a lip as well, just to try and hold the car down with the aero. But the main thing is the vent, and that goes and provides air to the radiator, which sits just under here, under the front. And the air actually gets channeled to the side of the car. And what that does is it prevents the car from lifting up when it's going at high speed. So it actually tries to help push the car down as it's driving at high speed. We've also got quite a few coolers down the side. Now most of the time, like on our Exiges, these are oil cooler and transmission cooler, so it's probably a very similar scenario here with the Emira. And you can see again there's a whole bunch of vents and a lot of aero that help to direct the air to the right places, make sure you stay on the ground with the car, and also cool the car adequately as well.
They have quite a few sensors in the front too, right? With this new Emira, which we didn't get for the Exige.
That's right. So with the Exige, we've got rear parking sensors, but with the Emira, they've now put front parking sensors in the car as well. So that really helps you, because a lot of the time with these sports cars, you can't really see the front very well.
Exactly.
So it really helps when you're parking and making sure that you don't hit the front of the car.
Tow hook.
Oh yeah, here we go. There's a tow hook on the side as well. So that's handy, because with our cars you have to remove the license plate in order to get the tow hook. So we're going to talk about the headlights on the Emira, because I really love the new headlights. With our Exige and the Lotus Elise that we had before, like even though they were new cars, they had really old headlights. Whereas this has HIDs right from the factory. It's obviously got LED indicators as well. It's got these really cool high beams down the bottom. So there's a lot of detail on these headlights. It looks like a modern car finally. And it just makes the whole car look way better. And it also even has a little Emira logo in the headlight. How cool is that? You know, that's supercar sort of stuff, right?
A lot of detail, eh?
Yeah, a lot of really cool detail.
Yeah.
And I just, really, really like the fact they focus on the headlights a little bit more. It's great. So having a look at the brakes at the front, we've got these huge calipers from AP Racing. It's a really, really nice caliper, really good performance, very similar to what we've got on our Exige cars, but this is just a little bit bigger as well. We've got the drilled and slotted discs. Those come from factory, and it's actually a two-piece disc from factory, which is really nice as well. That helps to save a bit of weight, and it also means that you don't have to replace the whole brake disc every single time. So with the Touring Spec, which this green car comes with, it actually by default comes with the Goodyear Eagle F1s. So you can see this is the tyre that they usually will come with. And it's a 20-inch wheel at the front, and it's a 20-inch wheel at the back as well. So they've gone with the same size wheels rather than staggered wheels, but the front is just a little bit narrower than the back. And just by coincidence, we also have a sport spec car right beside us, so we can kind of compare the differences here. So with the sport spec, by default, they come with the Pilot Sport Cup 2s from Michelin, but the actual brakes and the rotors and everything else, that's the same. The suspension is different because with the sport suspension, there's a little bit more firm springs. So that helps with obviously with the balance of the car, and also with the handling and the stiffness of the car. It would be really interesting actually to drive the two and figure out which one is better suited for New Zealand roads. Most people have said that the sport suspension is perfectly fine. It's able to cope with bumps and potholes and all that sort of stuff. But I think it also depends on your personal preference, what sort of car you want to have. If you just want to cruise around, then possibly the Touring is better. But if you want to be a bit more sporty, then obviously the Sport one would be the one to choose.
Yeah, you want more of the Exige experience, you choose the Sport.
Probably, yes.
And the wheel design is different too, right? The color, this is fully black, gloss black.
So that is a really popular option to have the black wheels, and then this green car has the diamond cut wheels. All right, so just having a look at the suspension as well while we're here. The control arms and all the suspension components have definitely been beefed up compared to the Elise and the Exige. With our cars, it used to be steel rods for control arms. They actually just welded them together and they manufactured them that way. But here you can see that they're cast aluminium probably, and the shape makes them a little bit stronger. They look way more modern, a lot more beefy compared to the Elise and the Exige. There's a big anti-roll bar down the bottom as well, and it has a really, really flat under tray, really flat floor, and that really helps with the aero. That really helps to keep the car pinned to the ground, which is great to see as well.
And the entire under tray is made out of an aluminium sheet, which is very, very amazing. It's like the Exige and the Elise. Because usually most of the modern cars comes with these sound deadening material, but this is fully aluminium.
All right, so we're looking at the side of the car, and the first thing you notice is that this rearview mirror is a lot bigger compared to the previous generation of cars. And so we really like the design, the fact that it's on a single stalk. There's an LED light on the side as well. So it's a really, really modern side mirror, and it probably improves the visibility a lot on this car. And then we've got this really nice design feature too, running all the way along the side of the car. And it splits off into this kind of...
two lines?
Yeah, two lines here that form like this little gap. And that helps to direct the air as well into this intake. And I think that's why the door handle is flush. And that design helps with the airflow into the intake.
The smoothness of that shape, hey?
Yeah, exactly. And this is all taken from cues from the Evora. So I love how they've integrated a lot of these design features from the other cars. And then this intake actually splits into two. So one of them looks like it directs the air into the engine bay up the top there, and then the other one may be directing the air into the wheel arch and the wheel well area. But yeah, it's really nice how they've actually got a bit more design, a bit more aero.
Much more detailed.
A lot more detailed, exactly. And then there's another intake or vent down the bottom here. And what's interesting is that this goes all the way through. Look at that, look at my hand. Wow, it's like magic, you know? This goes all the way through into the wheel arch area.
Yeah, it just shows you how much aero design and porousness they put into this car.
We've got the fuel filler cap up here, which is a little bit more integrated compared to the previous cars. And we've also got the Emira first edition badge, because obviously this is one of the first edition cars. Okay, everyone, let's do a cold start for the Emira. Has a really nice V6 sound. And then we can change the mode. Oh, there we go, track mode. All right, and then moving on to the back of the car, I really love the fact that they've made this taillight into more of a light bar. And then again, you can see the error in the vents on this car, and they're all functional. This is a massive vent that goes all the way through into the tire.
Put your hand in.
Hold on. Oh, maybe not with my watch, otherwise it'll scratch it.
Whoa.
There we go.
Look at that. Look at that.
So these are all functional elements and things that you can see in the car. And I think that's quite rare today in modern cars. A lot of the time these are not functional, or they're just design elements, they just want to make it look cool. But the fact that this is all functional is pretty amazing. And then we go down here and have a look at the two tail tips as well, the exhaust tips. Again, they're really, really large, and they look fantastic. They look very modern. And there's a nice sort of another vent just down here as well. So there's a lot of design, a lot of interesting features.
Yeah, just to allow air and hot air to escape from the exhaust drums, right?
Yes, from the muffler and the exhaust.
There is a very nice looking functional diffuser down here.
Nice.
We have a camera here.
A little hidden camera and some reversing sensors. And a big Lotus badge. So they've chosen to go with a glass engine bay cover, which is, I think, really nice. The fact that this is one piece of glass for the whole cover, again, is really, really premium feeling. And there's vents down the side here that help to direct the air into the engine bay. And this is actually completely open as well. And this goes straight into the engine bay to help relieve some of the heat and the
hot air coming out.
Yeah, exactly, the hot air that's coming out. So it really helps to direct the air through the engine bay. We're going to be looking at the boot and the engine bay now. So let's open up the boot. Oh, it's actually quite light.
It's got the struts.
Yeah.
Not like our Exiges.
Well, mine does. Yours doesn't.
Hey.
So having a look at the engine bay, it is a very, very similar power plant to the last generation Evora, to the final edition Exiges, pretty much exactly the same. But I think that's a good thing, because that means the drivetrain is proven and it's reliable. It's probably quite cheap in terms of parts. There's a lot of benefits for having this drivetrain in the Emira. And it actually sounds really good as well. They've done a lot of tuning and a lot of work to the engine to make it sound like an exotic car. And 400 horsepower is nothing to sneeze at as well. I like the fact that they've integrated the engine a little bit more into the car, so it doesn't just feel like it's just plonked in there. And the fact that you can still see the supercharger, you can still see the bypass valve. All of it looks really mechanical, it looks really engaging, and the fact that it's sitting right behind you as well gives you a really good sense of connection to the car. The boot area is definitely a lot bigger in this car. I think this is a very similar boot space compared to the Evora. You can see you can probably get to pretty decently sized pieces of luggage in the boot, and you can definitely put some golf clubs in here as well. I think that's what they were targeting, is to be able to put golf clubs in the back. So you can quite easily tour with this car. Harry drove it all around Europe. It's not going to be a difficult car to live with and to be able to take on long trips. Okay, so the other thing that you can do with the new Emiras is that you're able to buy this delivery pack from Lotus, which is pretty awesome, because it actually gives you a little model of the Emira in the color that you spec'd. So here you can see the Dark Verdant color, and again you can kind of tell that it's a very interesting color. It changes based on the light, and it's dark and light depending on which angle you hold it. It's really cool. And then down the bottom here, that's where the key goes. Look at that, there's a little slot for the key. So then you can actually hold your key inside the car, which is really nice. And then down the bottom here usually is the spare key. We don't have that today, but usually that's in there as well. So let's have a look at the key of the new Emira. So the key is actually quite different to the old one. The old one was very, very old, and it actually used like a physical key, whereas this is now completely wireless, keyless. You know, you can do keyless entry, keyless go. You've got the lock, unlock, and the boot buttons. They're very, very clear. They actually feel really nice to click as well. And you've still got the big Lotus logo. That's really nice. I really love that.
Oh, I love this. This got for the drivers on the side.
Exactly,
this is amazing.
on the side, yeah.
And I like how they mimic the aluminium look, because Lotus is all about lightness and aluminium manufacturing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really nice looking key, and I'd be happy to carry that around every day. That'd be great. Okay, everyone, so we're going to be using the key and showing you how that works. So obviously you've got the unlock. At the moment it's locked, that's why the mirrors are folded in as well. So you click on unlock and the mirrors automatically fold out. That's pretty cool. And then you press lock again and the mirrors fold in. Wow, that's a feature I wish I had in my Exige. All right, everyone, we're going to be jumping into the Emira. Oh, first thing you notice is that it is way easier to get in compared to the Exige, and the whole cabin just feels way more premium compared to the previous versions of the Lotuses. So you've actually got, you know, really nice leather seats. These are very supportive and actually really comfortable. They're really nicely designed.
Napa leather.
Yeah, Napa leather. You've got the Lotus logo there, and the other great thing is you can actually see that they've carpeted the whole entire interior, whereas the previous generation of cars, they showed the aluminium a little bit more.
Love this Emira right in center, on the carpet, really nice.
That's a good design touch, definitely. So you can still see the aluminium extruded chassis through the sill here, but the sill was a little bit lower and much easier for you to get in and out of compared to the previous cars, which is fantastic.
So the whole tub is made out of extruded and bonded aluminium.
That's correct.
To save weight, right? So similar to the Exiges and Elises from before.
Exactly the same, yeah. So bonded extruded aluminium chassis, and you can actually see all of the epoxy that they use. If you take off all the interior, if you have a look under the car, what it means is that it's really light and it's really rigid. So that really helps when you're building a sports car.
And the seats are fully electrically adjustable.
Yes, so I think this is one of the first times that Lotus has ever done electric seats.
Incline.
Yep, and you even have memory seats.
You even have lumbar support.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at that.
Electric. Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah.
Great, right?
Yeah, that's very cool. And the driver's seat even has memory, which is, again, something that's quite new for Lotus. And then the first edition cars, they also come with the KEF audio system. I think it's like an 8-speaker KEF audio system, which apparently is really nice too. And yeah, they all come spec'd with the leather interior and the really high quality interior options.
I really like how they carry through this pattern and shape. This is the new pattern shape for the entire Lotus range.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. That's impressive, man.
Aluminium handle, and it's a very nice shape as well.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice shape.
Nice leather on the door card as well.
Yeah.
And something that none of the Exige or Elise has is this pocket. On the door, right?
That's very handy, actually.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, so you can
it's quite deep and quite wide.
Have a bit more storage.
Yeah, very practical.
And the other thing that's practical, a glove box. Woohoo! Wow.
Look at that.
And it's pretty decent.
Have a room to put your manual.
Yeah, exactly, or your gloves. And I love how the button is actually hidden away up the top here, so they don't ruin the look of the glove box. And it's a physical button, which is what you want.
Very good.
And it's cool how they've actually tried to design the interior a little bit more. Like, instead of just having one color, one shape for the whole dash, they've actually got some design elements like this dash up here is different to this here, and then that's different to down here. Yeah. It just makes the whole car
much more layering.
Yeah, and it just flows a little bit better as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's really nice.
We have the first edition badge right here.
But they've still stuck to their roots. You know, they've still got a manual transmission. You can see the mechanism down here. It's just behind this little mesh so that you don't get your hand caught over there or have stuff flying into it. But it's still a really nice manual transmission. And the gear shift is very close to the steering wheel, so that you have really quick gear changes. It's really easy to make gear changes, and it's a real joy to use the gearbox. Like this.
How do you feel the shift action compared to the Exige?
I feel like it's a bit smoother actually.
That's what I feel as well.
Yeah, I think they've refined it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because in the Exige, you really have to, push quite hard to get it into gear, and sometimes you don't quite put enough force in. Whereas with this one, it feels like it actually helps you into gear a little bit more. Yeah, so it's really nice actually. Yeah, I do feel like the gearbox is better.
Cup holders.
Cup holders, yep. Again, like a Lotus first, really. Having integrated cup holders in the center console, very, very handy.
What's this?
This is a little storage space. Look at that,
wow.
With more USB ports. Very modern.
Quite deep as well.
Yeah, it's actually quite
large.
handy. Yeah.
And we've got storage nets down the back too.
Yeah, so the big advantage of the Emira over the previous like Exige and the Elise is that you do have a lot more storage at the back, and this is a decent amount of storage space. You could put some carry-on bags, or you can put some luggage back there. And I do use my storage behind the seat, but it's really hard to get to. Whereas with this car, it's a lot easier to get to your luggage. It's a lot bigger as well in terms of the luggage space. So this is actually a really big practical highlight of the Emira.
Couple of hooks down here for your clothes.
For your suit.
Your suit.
Yeah, you might want to wear a suit while you're driving this. Cool. So some of the other features of the car that we really like is the fact that it now has interior lights that you can actually control up here. So you can press this button and it turns on all the LED lights in the interior. There's a really nice Alcantara headliner.
Yeah, this is really good, isn't it?
It's really premium feeling. Yeah, really, really nice.
And they matched the sun visor to the roof Alcantara as well.
Yeah, the same material. And the sun visor is actually a big visor.
Yeah, and there's
something you can use.
Mirror right here with the light.
Yeah, for your passenger. Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, awesome. Good touches there from Lotus. Cool. So the way that the steering wheel works is that you have this big pad that you can press on the left and on the right. So the left-hand side controls all the music and the audio and the cruise control functions, and then the right-hand side you can see it controls the dash in the middle. So you can actually just swipe up and down. These are touch sensitive, so you can go through all of the different display modes and all the different things that you can display on there. But you can also just press the buttons as well. So it's nice that they give you a couple of different options to interact with the display. I quite like the way that the steering wheel feels. It feels quite chunky, it feels really solid. You can actually move the steering wheel in and out and up and down. There's quite a bit of adjustment in the steering wheel. So that's actually quite a big difference in the new Lotus Emira compared to the old Lotuses. So this is really nice. This is actually a really, really good feature and will help to get a lot more people into these cars. Okay everyone, so we're going to be showing you the infotainment system and the digital display a little bit more now. So we're actually in touring mode at the moment, so you can see the display is a little bit different. So it shows you a little bit of information about the car, it shows you the speedo on the left hand side and then the gear that you're in on the right hand side. You can scroll through the different screens in the middle. So you can see car status, you can see the lap timer, you can see the G's at the front there as well, and also some other performance stats. Oh, you can see downforce in the middle of the screen there too. I think that one's probably not using sensors, it's probably just trying to figure out based on your speed what the downforce is looking like. But it's really cool that they've added some of these features in. And I really like the interface because you can actually see which screens are available and which screen you're on, which isn't always the case with these modern infotainment systems. So yeah, I really like that. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see if you had Android Auto connected, you can see the map as well. So the other thing you can do is you can flick between the different modes and it will change the central display as well. So we're going to go into sport mode. So there you go, now we're in sport mode. You can see that the gauges turn into a bit more of a red color, but everything else is pretty much the same apart from the exhaust. The exhaust opened up a little bit and the performance is a little bit more. And then if we go into track mode, you'll see on the central screen here, track mode selected, you'll see the powertrain, exhaust, all that goes to maximum. And the central screen changes quite a bit in track mode. It shows you the gear that you're in right in the middle, really, really big. And it shows you the rev meter right at the top there, really similar to the previous generation of Lotus displays. And you also see the tire pressure on the side here, because that's really important when you're on the track and when you're doing some performance driving. All right, so we're going to look at the infotainment system really quick as well. You can see that this is the default screen with the trip statistics. We're not driving it today, so there won't be any statistics in there. You can pair up your phone with Bluetooth. There is also Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You get some climate controls here as well. I love how they've put the little guy with the helmet in the climate control. That kind of just shows you the sort of car that this is. It's a sports car. There's a bit of racing heritage there. You know, Formula One, trickle down technology, blah, 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 blah. But the other good thing is they've actually given us physical buttons for the climate control too. So you can either choose to do it on the screen or on the physical buttons. So that's really nice. You can also go into settings. There's a whole bunch of settings in this car that you don't get with the previous Lotuses. That's really nice. And then the other cool thing is you can actually swipe up and down on this main screen, and it gives you all the different stats and all the different functionality of the screen. You can have a lap timer, and you can see your performance stats as well. There's actually a totally separate app for the performance. So if you go into here, you'll actually see a lot more information. You'll see the current power and torque that it's producing, the percentage of boost, and also the downforce measurement as well, and the G-force meter on the side. So it's really cool that the Lotus have really focused on trying to make the most of this entertainment screen. And the other cool thing is that you can look at your tire pressures in here as well. Very similar to how you can look at the tire pressures in the main display. So it's nice that the main display and the infotainment screen kind of tie in together and they work well together.
Does this come with navigation?
It doesn't come with navigation built in, so you have to pair your phone with Android Auto or with Apple CarPlay, and then you can use your navigation through the screen. Okay everyone, hopefully you really enjoyed that thorough walkthrough of the Lotus Emira. We're super excited to have this car here in New Zealand. I think a lot of people are excited to get their hands on it. People have been waiting for these cars for quite a while, and they look to be really popular because they're so nice. You know, they're good quality, they drive really well, they've got a good engine. And
it's manual too.
It's manual, yeah, exactly. It's one of the last manual petrol-powered cars that you can probably ever buy. And it looks fantastic. I mean, this car looks amazing. It looks like it's a car that's 2 or 3 times more expensive than what it is. So we really
much more practical than the Exiges.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little bit more practical as well. So it's a lot easier to live with as an everyday car. So we'll be really excited to bring you the driving review of this video and our driving impressions later on once we do get our hands on the demo car. So look forward to that. So hopefully you really enjoyed that video on the walkthrough of the Lotus Emira. We'll be getting our hands on the demo car as soon as we can. As soon as that demo car's run in, then we'll be driving it and bringing you our review and our impressions. So like and subscribe and get ready for that. Thank you for joining us. Catch you next time.